Welcome to another episode of Are You Mad at Me? I'm Vickie Morgan.
And I'm Josh Morgan.
Woohoo.
Yay.
So it's St. Patrick's Day here today.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day if you celebrate.
Who
doesn't celebrate?
Peter's been saying, nobody asked me to be there, Patrick. And that's weird, but funny.
Yeah. So I'm making a little crochet hat for a dog.
It's pretty tiny.
It's pretty small.
I don't know that any of our dogs' heads are that tiny.
Well, I'm not sure. But I'm actually trying to make one for a Chihuahua, which is kind of hard to imagine that anything exists that's that small. But anyway, I found a video online, and so anyway, that's where we are.
So you don't have any kind of measurements for this dog?
None. But I did see pictures of him online in his owner's arms. So I'm judging okay, this is how big his hands are that I remember, and this is how big his arm is, and this is probably... So based on that, I'm basing it on how big I remember his hands are.
Trying to proportionate.
I mean, he's going to measure it for me and tell me, but I just wanted to get ahead of it.
So what happens if this hat that you've already made is too big or too small?
Well, this might be good for Sparky. Sparky, can you come here, buddy?
I don't know. He's got a big pit bull head.
Well, it's got ear holes, which I kind of love. And apparently, these are also good for cats. Sparky, come here, bud. Come here, why don't you? Come here, bud. Come on. Come on. Come here. Come up here. Come on this side. No, come up this side. We're going to start this over.
This is a dog model show. Dog fashion show.
Come on. Come on.
He knows we're making a podcast, so he doesn't want to interrupt.
Oh, this one might be a little small.
Way too small for Sparky. But maybe he has a pretty small head. It might be big enough for her.
All right, go on.
Go away now. Thank you for helping. So, welcome to the Are You Mad at Me podcast.
Are we going to start it from here?
No, I think this is it. We've started.
Okay, so I made this little hat because a friend of ours, has a little Chihuahua, and he said, "Can you make a hat for a Chihuahua?"
So one of our favorite places to go eat in the city is the Celtic Hearth. We went on our first date there 18 years ago, almost 19 years ago now.
Yeah.
2006. And we go there every chance we get because it's open 24 hours.
Yep.
It's delicious food.
Yep.
And
they have different menus. They have like a daytime menu and then an evening menu and also an overnight menu, which is also fun.
I don't know. We were there last night at like midnight, and it was the regular menu.
Oh, well, they have an all.
I mean,
we
ordered breakfast.
Yeah.
We had a Newfoundland breakfast. It was delicious. It was bologna and Toutons and hash browns and 2 eggs. It was delicious.
Yeah.
Anyway, we love the Celtic Hearth.
Yep.
But Cody is the, I think he's like the manager. I don't know.
I think so.
Anyway, Cody was our
We
server.
love Cody.
And he's fantastic, and he's very nice, and he's got a couple little dogs.
And we got to chatting because they didn't have any decaf tea. And I was like, I don't know, I'll drink some regular tea. And Josh was like, I don't think that's a good idea. So Cody asked me if I had a safe place to stay.
That didn't happen.
No, but Josh was not happy that I was drinking decaf or drinking regular tea because he was afraid I'd be crawling all over to Uber on the way home. And I was. He was right. I was awake for a very long time. I got off caffeine when I was pregnant with Henry. I was very, you know that episode of The Simpsons where Apu says, one time I stayed awake for so many hours and I thought I was a hummingbird at the end.
Yeah.
That was me when I was pregnant with Henry because I had the hormone stuff going on, the pregnancy hormones. And also I grew up, I think they used to put tea in our bottle. It feels like it. I mean, that's basically what a cup of tea is a big
caffeinated tea.
So let me start from the beginning. My family was raised on carnation milk, which is like a evaporated milk cut with water. So basically half and half, and then a spoonful of sugar. And that's put in a bottle, warmed up, and fed to you through a nipple.
I don't think I realized that there was sugar in it.
Oh, God, yes.
Isn't that bad for kids?
I mean, I turned out fine. I'm less than 5 feet tall, but... So anyway, back to my... So, tea... And okay, so that's the kind of milk we were raised on. So there wasn't like... I mean, when we had our kids, we gave them fresh milk.
Our kids were nursed.
What do you call it?
Milk.
What do you call milk that comes in a container?
Milk.
And what do you call milk that comes in a can?
That doesn't exist. That's not something...
You've been with me for 19 years.
You mean, what do I call it now, or like growing up?
Well, I guess you never heard of it before.
Growing up, it was not a thing. I mean, you could get it at the store, but people would be like, there's milk in that can?
No one used evaporated milk?
For like making pies or whatever, but it was not something that you had around.
Isn't that sweetened condensed milk? That's a different thing.
No, sweetened condensed milk is super thick.
Yeah.
That's the stuff you can make like caramel out of.
So did you use that for anything?
Nothing.
I never heard of that.
No, nobody ever. The only time I ever got milk that wasn't like in a jug, because it comes in cartons here, but it comes in jugs in the South, was when we were really poor and on welfare, and we got like a food hamper every month, and we would go and they would have like powdered boxes of powdered milk. And I thought that was the most disgusting thing I could imagine, because milk should be in a jug. It should be very cold and
not lumpy.
You should not have to stir your milk to make it not lumpy.
We loved powdered milk. That wasn't actually such a bad thing. But we never had, as far as like a container of milk to have cereal, there was no such thing. We made carnation cut with water, and that's what we put on our cereal. And I'm trying to remember if we ever had cartons of fresh milk, and it was like a treat. And you could have it on cereal, but I don't know what we had it for. It was not very often.
It's funny because when we had our kids in the U.S., we always had 2 gallons of milk in the fridge. Like we would go to the store and get 2 gallons of milk.
So that's 4 2 liters.
So here we get 4 2-liter cartons.
I forgot about that.
There's always, I mean,
there's always at least 8 liters of milk.
But
in the fridge.
we go through a lot.
We drink it a lot now. But we've got healthy growing boys. I mean, we need lots of milk around. But anyway.
No osteoporosis for us.
No, my bones are brittle. I just can't even touch off me and I'll crack. I'm fragile. So anyway, but we were raised on carnation milk. That was just the norm. The kids before me, my parents' generation were all raised on carnation milk. And so essentially the only thing missing right now from this cup of tea, quite honestly, is a nipple.
But the point was you stopped drinking caffeine 14 years ago when you were pregnant with Henry.
The point was I was raised on, so I started drinking tea when I was maybe 3. Maybe. I can't imagine it was much younger than that, but probably around the age of 3. I remember I had this little silver cup that Mom thought was so cute. I would drink it she would put it in this little silver cup. Maybe it was aluminum, I don't know, but it was this little tiny cup and it was itty bitty. And so I would have a little bit of her tea in that little special cup. And I remember I was about 3. So anyway, I've been off caffeine. But I was raised on it. I started drinking tea when I was about 3, and I was drinking maybe 5-6 cups a day of caffeinated tea by the time I got pregnant with Henry. And then I started craving coffee, which was also, so I was like, oh, caffeine's bad for babies. So I went the whole other way. So a lot of my anxiety went away when I cut down the caffeine. I didn't realize. So I would drink tea at like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. It was nothing, or like, just before I went to bed. And it seemed like I would drink tea and then immediately crash afterwards. So I was like, see, tea doesn't keep me awake, but then I would be not really sleeping. I wouldn't be really getting a lot of rest.
Yeah.
Anyway, been off caffeine for about 14 years. And so I was at a meeting a few months ago and drank some regular tea and talked nonstop for 2 straight hours. So last night at the restaurant, it was like, hey, do you have any decaf tea? And they were like, no, I don't think so. And Josh goes, I don't think that's a good idea.
But they didn't have any, so you had caffeine.
It was so delicious.
So you were talking to Cody
and I wanted another cup right after that. It was so good.
So you were talking to Cody about
Cody has a Chihuahua, and he said,
caffeine.
I was showing him a sweater that I made, because I made a sweater for a baby shower. And he was like, oh my God, could you make like anything with? And I was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And because you take the job first and then you figure out how to do it, right? That's our motto.
That's right.
I think Nate Bargatze has a guy that comes and does stuff at his house, and his business card says, I can probably do that.
Probably.
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah.
We should make business cards to say, I can probably do that.
Yeah. That's happened a few times. We've gotten a few jobs where it's like, can you do this? And it's like, yep. And then we just furiously Google how to do this thing that I'm going to get paid for next week.
We haven't let anybody down yet. But it's always within our realm of,
Yeah.
It's related to the things that we already
nobody's
do.
coming to us asking if we can machine some steel
I haven't been asked to do surgery yet, unfortunately, because I am ready to just chop into some, slice them up. Yeah. I got people in mind. I should go offer. Would you like me to do some surgery?
They're looking for an intern down at the funeral home. You can
That's not the same, because they can't feel it. I would really want them to do some surgery without anesthetic on them. Anyway, so that leads me to our segment this week on Are You Mad at Me?
I guess so, yeah.
I don't really have any stories. It's actually been a good week. We had a great week. St. Patrick's Day, of course, was today. So basically all of St. Patrick's weekend. I think it's celebrated pretty much everywhere, but in Newfoundland, it is a religious holiday. But for some reason, you had classes today, which I don't understand. A provincial institution that didn't have a holiday on St. Patrick's Day is kind of like, I mean, I prefer they work on Christmas.
I mean, it seems like Halloween. It's like a holiday for the kids.
Where like somebody goes crazy and kills a bunch of people, and they decide every year, like, maybe we shouldn't celebrate this year. So we also watched Halloween the other night.
So we watched the new 2018 Halloween trilogy with Jamie Lee Curtis and Judy Greer, and they were really good.
Oh my God.
We watched those this weekend. We binged them. Okay, so we're watching Okay, so what was the first one called? It was just Halloween 2018, I think. And then the second one was Halloween Forever, and then the third one was Halloween Kills or something like that. Anyway.
Kills, something else, and Halloween Ends.
Ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. Anyway, so we watched the whole first one.
I watched it like this.
Yeah, it was pretty over the top.
They went all out on the special effects. There was a big budget.
I enjoy that. It's funny because when we watch stuff like that and the boys are around, Vickie's like, "You guys don't have to watch this," and we're all three like, "Okay," and just
all I need to know is that there's sounds in the background, and I look when that's over.
Yeah,
that's usually like stuff exploding, stuff coming out that's not supposed to.
So we got halfway through the second one, and our TV just turned off, and it was like, "Well, that was weird." I just figured I sat on the remote or something, and it's completely dead. It just died.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
I think it's at the exact 2-year mark that we've had the TV.
It's right at the end of the
warranty. It's not the first time. I think this might be our third TV from Costco that died in the week on the anniversary of the warranty.
I mean, it helps that we get the absolute cheapest option possible.
I don't see how that's relevant. It's hundreds of dollars for a device.
Yeah.
It should be.
So anyway, our TV died halfway through, so we had to watch.
How does it know when to die?
We had to watch the second half of the second movie and all of the third movie on the computer, which the laptop is right in front of us on the table, so it's like it's kind of the same, proportions as where the ratio.
Yeah.
If the TV's 10 feet away and the computer's 3 feet away.
Well, if you go by that logic, we could put the TV right in front of us and it'd be like surround.
Yeah, or just put your phone right up against your face.
What did I say?
TV.
No. I meant phone. We could put the phone real close to our face, and it would look like one of those curved things.
Like a virtual reality headset.
We should do that.
We should. So yeah, we watched the Halloween movies, and they were really
awesome.
They were really fun.
I think it's really done this time, though. I don't think they're coming back.
No spoilers.
But I had that moment of like existentialism, because I was looking at Jamie Lee Curtis on the screen, and then the credits came up, and I was like, "That's it. No more Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween movies." Like you get so used to it, and you go, "This is going to last forever." No, I mean the idea that she's like in her 60s. She is not going to do any more Halloween movies. So that's it. Like you have this thing and you take it for granted, and it's like boom, boom, like, and you just figure there's going to be a panel station wagon, and Jamie Lee Curtis with knitting needles forever, and then it's like this is evidence that the world is people are aging, people are getting older. She's done 8 of them, I think, but there's no more.
Well, here's the thing.
That's it.
Here's the thing.
When the credits rolled, they're really rolling on Jamie Lee Curtis and the whole tradition that I've grown up with.
They did a thing, I don't know if it was a couple years ago, with Randy Travis, where I don't know if he's still alive, but he was in rough shape.
He's very alive.
He had a stroke or 5, and he can't talk anymore, which his voice is his whole life, because for 40 years he's been a country singer. So they did a thing where they used AI to do a new Randy Travis song.
I think they might have even written it with AI.
And they used his voice. I don't remember but they used his voice. They did his.
Are we having an argument right now? Should I look it up?
No.
All right.
The point is, he listened to it before he died. He got to hear himself sing a new song.
He's not dying. He's just
no.
Well.
But before he's not dead yet. So before he passes on, he has heard himself sing a new song, which he probably thought he could never do. Right. So
he didn't do it.
Right. So if maybe he wrote it, I don't know. We'll look it up. So if Jamie Lee Curtis ever dies, in 30 years, they could make another Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis from the 80s. You know what I mean? With AI and CGI.
Unless I have gone so far down that path that I don't even know where I am anymore.
Of course you know, but I think we saw Princess Leia.
Orderlies.
We saw Princess Leia as a 25-year-old in the new movies. Yeah. Done with CG. Oh, and the Admiral, what's his name? I can't remember. Anyway, they did Star Wars characters completely CGI, and it was that person doesn't look like that anymore, or that person's dead, or whatever. And it's there they are. And then it's not like Roger Rabbit, where it's a whole bunch of cartoons running around real people. It was this is a realistic, I don't know. It looked real.
If you're drunk. I don't like it. I don't buy it. There was also in the Terminator. Excuse me. Remember they had Arnold Schwarzenegger as a
they had
very
a
young
Arnold Schwarzenegger
version.
Oh, and Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian. They used an actor that kind of looked like Luke Skywalker and did a deep fake with his face and put his face on there from
that just
79 or whatever.
Do you enjoy that?
I enjoy the story and the movie and the escapism and the I'm not watching a documentary. I'm like, yeah, this is all fake. I just let it go and enjoy the.
So I feel like TV and film was ruined for me when I started making TV and film. So like when I see a scene and there's like two people in a room and they're having a conversation like this, I know how many people are here, right? Right? I mean, we're not alone. There's all these crew, there's all these people that came and set up the thing and set up the set and are working all the machines and all that stuff. And so it seems like it's just me and you here on the couch. And there's room for whoever wants to sit here with us. But it's so much bigger production. And so everything for me in that way has been ruined. And so I'm never really, I don't know that I really immerse myself anymore in movies. I'm always, every now and then I'll go, oh, that's so, and I'll, like Yellowstone, I got really sad with Yellowstone for a few days.
Yeah.
But it does kind of cross my mind that there's a crew there, that someone wrote this, and that, it is definitely a fake. But
I'm very simple, so it doesn't take much for me to get into the.
Well, that's good. That's actually
I have a very childish brain.
That actually means mentally healthy. I did an abnormal psych class years ago, and that was one of the things that determines mental wellness is if you're able to get into a play mode and come back out of it and do regular life things. So you'll probably do fine. I find stuff like that makes me feel very old. Like, so these people are so old that you can't even make them up enough. You can't like pull all their skin back to make all the wrinkles disappear. That we're aging. But that's a fact of life. Everybody's getting older. Everybody's aging, and we're fortunate to be given the privilege of aging. It's just, as we're getting up into the higher numbers, it's a little bit more like, oh my God, I'm not going to live forever. Probably.
Facing your own mortality.
I saw an article today about Dolly Parton and what her intentions are for Dollywood. And I don't even need to watch it. I'm going to give it to Nate. Nate wants to have Nateland. Make Dolly, just scratch out Dolly and put Nate in there. And I'm sure most of the rides would be the same.
It'd be Nate Wood, though.
No. Okay, so take out all the letters in Dollywood.
Let's just do a new sign.
And call it Nateland. But I mean, I saw a news article the other day. I don't know why I'm getting a news feed from Nashville, but it said...
I got an idea.
He was on the news, and I don't know if it was a joke or what, but he's been talking about it on a podcast for a few years.
Yeah.
But there was an actual news article just a few days ago, a news interview, where he was talking about, I would like to have a Nateland theme park, because Opryland isn't there anymore. Apparently there's a mall in place of where Opryland used to be. So
yeah, that's where the Mall of America is.
He's Nashville's sweetheart, or Tennessee's sweetheart, and so Dollywood is in Tennessee, right?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Nashville and Dollywood are on like opposite ends of Tennessee, and it's not a small state. Like, it's pretty long, like it's long and thin.
Yeah.
So like Dollywood is like, when I was growing up in North Carolina, there's the Blue Ridge Mountains, western North Carolina, and right on the other side of the mountains is Tennessee. So like Tennessee and North Carolina kind of share the mountains, the Smoky Mountains. So we would drive just through the mountains and get just to the other side into Tennessee, and that's where Dollywood is. That's Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg is right there, right on the other, like right
over the mountains,
as far east as you can go in Tennessee. But Nashville is pretty far.
How far are we talking?
West,
how much of a drive?
I don't know. I feel like it's a few hours at least.
That's not a big deal.
It's not huge, no.
So if we drove for 10 hours here, we'd just be past Corner Brook.
I'm looking it up.
Are you looking something up while we're in the middle of the podcast? All right, well, what am I looking up?
Well, we talked about this the other day, too, and I feel like we didn't look it up since then.
What was the thing I was asking about? What was my question?
3 hours and 35 minutes.
That's
so Nashville
nothing. That's
to
not
Pigeon
even Grand
Forge
Falls.
or Gatlinburg is 3.5 hours.
Okay, so we visit your family in North Carolina, and Levada and Mary Elizabeth and Chris and...
Well, that's another couple hours.
Oh, yeah, North Carolina's pretty big, too. Remember when we landed in North Carolina a few years ago, and it was my first trip to the United States, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we got to the signs that said North Carolina, and I was like, "Oh my God!"
No. That was when we drove down from here. So that wasn't your first trip, because you flew down for the first time. I flew down.
Okay, so the first time we drove into North Carolina.
Yeah, the first time we drove.
It was like signs for Greensboro, because that's where Josh's dad lived, and that was our destination. And so we see this sign, these beautiful highway signs. Everything is so is really, really done well. The highways are fantastic in the U.S. And so there's these beautiful signs, and it says Greensboro, and we had been driving for hours. I'm like, oh, thank God, we're almost there. And he was like, yep, and it was like a few exits away, it seemed like. And Josh was like, yeah, probably another 45 minutes or so. And I went, what? And those 45 minutes were the longest of my life. The only time I remember being longer was when we moved to Maine from North Carolina. And this was back in the days where you Google Map something.
Yeah, this was pre-GPS times.
Yeah, and you print off the pages. And so Josh and I didn't put in the address for where we had rented an apartment in Maine.
We moved from North Carolina to Maine, and instead of putting the address of our new apartment, which was not in Portland, it was about 20 minutes north of Portland, we put I for some reason I just had a brain fart and put in Portland, Maine. Which just takes you to the downtown post office. We're
driving all night. It's been days. We're on the road. It's really great. It's really exciting. We're hoping to meet Stephen King one of these days. And we drive in, and we're looking around at downtown Portland, and the water's right there, and it looks almost identical to St. John's. And I'm like, this place is amazing. Oh, my God.
Our place is right downtown.
I'm going to love it here. Oh, my God. There's the Portland Theater, and there's a TV station, and there's the post office. And that's where the map stopped. The MapQuest was to the Portland, Maine post office. And we were like, oh, I don't know how we found it. But anyway, we're trying to get to Yarmouth, which is 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
But we thought we lived downtown Portland. That was our destination.
For a few minutes, we were like, this is awesome.
Finding our place after, like, driving further and further away from Portland was pretty comical. The place where we ended up living was just next to the exit where in the mist, everybody dies. The sign, like the chaos after everybody has died.
When they leave the grocery store and they finally get to the highway and they're driving and everything's
exit 15 is tipped
busted
over on its side, and that's the exit we lived on. It was pretty great. If you would go a few more exits up, you can get to the
was
LL
it 15
Bean.
or 17?
15. When you go up
17.
a little bit further.
Well, 17 was the other side of Yarmouth.
Yep.
There's 2 exits for Yarmouth.
It was only 2 miles long.
Yeah.
But then a few exits up was the LL Bean outlet. I think was, what was that called? Freeport.
Yeah.
It was a great location. So there's Freeport, Falmouth, Yarmouth. It was a lot of great little places. Then you go up a little further. It was
Gorham
Brunswick.
and Wyndham.
That was in a different direction. Anyway.
Why
are we talking about that? Oh,
we're talking about Cody's dog and caffeine.
Just give Dollywood to Nateland. And just maybe Nateland should start right by the edge of the Smoky Mountains on the east, and then all the way to the west, all the way to Nashville.
You want all of Tennessee to just belong to Nate.
Just call it Nateland.
Yep.
In my mind, it already is, but, whatever. That's just my opinion.
I went to Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, Dollywood when I was in high school, like grade 9 or something.
Like a school trip?
8 or 9. No, it was just me and Dad and his his new family. No,
his new son.
My dad and stepmom and stepbrother, and it was fun. We just went up for like a long weekend and did like all the. There's like a big ski lift that goes up to the top of a mountain that you can see down across Pigeon Forge, and like I bungee jumped at one of the. There's all these roadside like. Carnival. It's like the whole town is like a big carnival, or it was
Gatlinburg
30 years ago,
or Pigeon Forge.
I don't remember I think it was Pigeon Forge. I think that's where we were staying. It was the weekend Princess Diana died. That's how long ago it was, because I remember we were watching that on the news.
Wow.
In the hotel room, and I was like, this lady's British, I don't know who she is.
Are you serious? Oh my God.
Some British lady died.
Someone from Coronation Street died. Yeah, it was a big deal in Canada when she died. Holy cow. Anyway.
So yeah, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg.
I know that was a place that was on my list of things that I wanted to check out while we were down there, and never got there yet, but we will. But there was this thing online. There was this article about what are her plans for after she dies. Like I think she's gonna give up on the breathing thing, and But it was an article about what is going to happen to Dollywood after she's gone. And it's like, are you serious? Why are you talking to this woman about dying? Oh, I didn't click on it because it was too morbid, and I already know what there's. I'm putting it out to the universe that they just hand it over to Nateland. Or maybe he could annex onto it. Or, build something next to it or whatever, because he doesn't mention it. But
so there aren't any theme parks here.
Here?
In Newfoundland.
No, not even close.
So, like, I grew up, no more than a couple hours anywhere we lived from Charlotte, where Carowinds is. Yeah. And it's a huge, Paramount bought it in the 90s. So they would have all these Wayne's World, there's a big Wayne's World section, this one roller coaster that they there was a Days of Thunder 4D thing where you'd sit in the car in the chair and it would move around and stuff. But huge theme park in North Carolina, and when Paramount bought them, they had all these Star Trek things. I love the Next Generation when I was in middle school, high school.
We had nothing like that.
But anyway, there's like a carnival here, Thomas Amusements.
Oh, it just brings the rain.
But it's like just a huge, like gigantic, enormous.
And it's not stuff that's set up all
version
the
of it.
time. So they come in and build it basically in a mall parking lot, and then you're like holding on for dear life, hoping that the car needs.
Like Nate said, this was on the highway an hour ago.
Yeah, yeah. So, and it rains whenever they come to town. It rains. I don't know if that's different now, but now it goes.
We've had some pretty fun experiences with the kids at Thomas Amusements.
Yeah, I don't like it. I can't stand the sound. That hydraulic sound of like the squeal. That makes me, because I once got on a ride that I was not prepared for. I've been on a few of them, but I'm very cautious. Like I'll get on like the little tiny horsey, the merry-go-round or whatever. But I got on one where it just did this sort of thing. It went up and down, and then it spun around in a circle. And I just remember, and it was an outside car. I wasn't in anything enclosed. It was like in one of those carts. And I was with a girl from school and the guy that I was seeing at the time. And I remember I was so scared that I just locked my legs and I just like basically stood up on I just stood into, and so he said afterwards that he was really scared because I was almost shoving him out of the little cart.
You were pushing him.
I didn't realize I was pushing anybody, and I guess maybe there was some gravity going on or whatever, but I was just locked. Like I just locked my legs and froze, and I just remember closing my eyes. And I was just counting the squeals from the hydraulics, like how many times it was going to do that until I could get off. And I was beyond terrified. And my eyes were squeezed shut. And I just remember they were watering. You could say I was crying. But the girl from my class, who was sitting behind me, actually said, "That was you? I thought it was raining." I thought it had started raining because my tears.
So like one of those cartoons where like the tears are just flying out and stuff.
It was a lot.
Like that happened in real life.
It was a lot. So the sound of the hydraulics now, when I go to Thomas Amusements, it gives me a PTSD flashback. So I hate it. So I shut down. So that's why I don't eat at the carnival. Yeah. So during fight or flight things, your digestion shuts down. So that is why you'll never catch me eating anything at Thomas Amusements, because I'm in escape mode.
So we went there a couple years ago with the kids, and it was like Canada Day in Paradise, and it was a lot of fun. And so the boys were like big enough now that they could do the big roller coasters. Not roller coasters, but rides.
Ferris wheel is the biggest one.
So there's one that's...
And the spacey one. The
one that spins. So there's one that spins around like a Ferris wheel, but each individual car also spins, and you can kind of control...
What is this one called?
I don't remember what it's called, but you can kind of control the friction. No, it's just like it's little Ferris wheel cars, and it spins around vertically, and then each car that the people are in spins around on its own. So... A couple years ago we did it, and Henry wasn't sure about it. So Peter, the younger one, was super brave, and he was like, "Let's do it. I just don't want to go upside down." And I was like, I'd never been on this ride before. And I was like, I think you can keep it from going upside down. I think we can just hold it so it's upright the whole time, right? So the thing started going. I had the like handbrake sort of thing that's in there, and then I was kind of holding it like really tight, and it was really hard, but I kept it from going upside down, which I thought was the better way to do it. And it turned out that I was terrified because of the pressure from not going around, like not spinning. He was miserable. So then we got off. He's crying. He's like, "I hated it. It was terrible, whatever." I get on with Henry. For some reason, Henry saw all that happen and then was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." I get on with Henry, and he's like, I just kind of let it go and let it do its own thing, and it's spinning around, and we're spinning with it, and we're just kind of going with the flow, and it's like, oh, this is way better.
You were flipping upside down, and that was more fun?
It was way easier. Yeah.
No, thank you.
And I don't think I could get Peter on after that. I think that he was like done because he was the guinea pig and did it like we did it wrong the first time.
I'm going to have to go back and check the archives because I took video of everybody coming off that, and I don't remember any of that. I just block it out. I mean, like white noise, white wall.
He was holding my arm so tight. He was like 9 or 8. It was 2 or 3 years ago. But he was just like, this Frozen. Is the worst thing ever. And I was like, I'm trying to make it better, but I was making it worse. You know what I mean? Like to keep it
I have no idea. I've never been on it.
So the pressure, yeah, it was funny.
So people that go to like the UK and they get on that eye, What is it called?
The London Eye, yeah.
The London Eye.
Yeah. It's huge.
Not a chance.
But that's just a Ferris. That doesn't go fast. It doesn't go upside down. It just goes up high so you can see.
Yeah.
But then that's always like the like every alien invasion movie or every terrorism movie. It's always like the London Eye is something that gets destroyed. It's like, what about the people that run on top of that thing?
It's the first thing to go. I remember going to the fair when I was maybe 8th grade or something like that. And I just remember I went with was a bunch of us from junior high. And there was this guy that I liked. And it just planted it in my brain. What would I do if somebody I had a crush on asked me to get on that ride? That's always like it's one of my
that was your motivation to do
it was just like I wonder what I would do. I've never had to answer the question ever. So isn't that comical that I've never been faced with that question of like, hey, look, Alan Doyle wants you to go on the London Eye with him. Are you going to go? I mean, I've said it out loud. So
I have asked you to go on rides with me at stuff before, and you just say no. So that's the answer, unless you just don't have a crush on me. Maybe we're learning something here. Are you mad at me?
Okay. We got off track. This is ridiculous. Why are we even talking about this?
Forget it. Just forget it.
Just forget it. I mean, we've been married a long time, and we got married really fast. So if you had asked me to go on something early in the relationship, you would have had a better chance of me saying yes. But right now,
you're not trying to impress me anymore.
As Nate would say, I'm not trying to date you. So we're good. But anyway, hydraulics at the theme parks. The first time I went to a theme park was with you. So it was the train one, Tweetsy.
Oh.
Right? Tweetsy
Railroad. Yeah,
we went to a lot of places. We went to a lot of places with the kids. There was places in Maine. There was like year-round.
There was a place in right outside Boston when the kids were little and they loved Thomas.
Oh my God!
There was a place called Edaville.
Oh, it was
EDA,
just as it opened. Edaville, yeah.
Because it was some guy's initials were EDA, and they named a place.
So Edaville, it was a part built onto Edaville.
Yeah, so Edaville was like a
new
train theme park. Yeah. But they added on like a Thomas the Tank Engine section of it and had like these life-size Thomas characters, and the boys loved it.
I loved it because those rides were meant for small kids.
Yeah.
So they were built for small kids, but with parents involved. So you could be on the rides, and they weren't at all scary, but you got to ride on like the fire truck guy, whoever he was. I don't remember their names.
I don't remember. I was just trying to think. There was a helicopter one too, where
there was a helicopter that lifted up like 4 feet off the ground. It was great, and it was just so. But but there was one where the car. Remember Winston, the car? It had 5 or 6 Winstons that would drive around, and it was just a little track, about maybe 10 feet in the air, and it just drove around real slow. And you just got to ride in Winston.
I found it exciting too for us because it was like we've been watching these shows for the past few years with the kids, and we knew all the characters, and we bought all the toys, and they'd gotten them all for Christmas, and like we were like, fun. Oh look, there's Winston, there's Diesel 10, there's whatever, like all the
crane.
Cranky
the crane.
Yeah,
but it was really fun,
and it was
really well done, and like even the food. I remember we ate inside the theme park there, but I remember that Edaville had a bunch of dinosaur stuff. Remember? We went. There was a lot of stuff to like a trail to walk through.
I'm getting Edaville mixed up with York Animal Kingdom in Maine because that was kind of a similar like themed. York Animal Kingdom had like an animal section and like a theme park section. Yeah. But there was like I'm seeing like all the haunted house.
It all blends together.
And then there was like camel rides and pony rides.
That was at Yorkville. Yeah.
York Animal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty fun. It was really, really fun. I like doing this stuff, and so the boys don't remember most of that, so that's one other reason to go back. I really
like theme parks. Growing up, like every summer, it was like we'd go to Carowinds. That was what everybody did because, like everybody at school. So you'd go back to school in August or September and be like, "Oh, did you go on the new roller coaster or the new whatever?"
Okay, I just got our "Are You Mad at Me" segment.
Okay.
So we went to North Carolina a few years ago when Henry was little, like maybe 3, I would imagine. I think he was about 3. And so I came up with, I want to go to take him to Tweetsy because he liked trains and it was supposed to be fun. And Josh you told me about an experience where you were on a Tweetsy train and a cinder got in your eye and you had a terrible day. So I wanted to go back and revisit.
I mean, I was 5. I was little.
But you had told me about that, and I wanted to go back to Tweetsy to redo it, go back with you as a dad, with his little boy, and you could show him all these things. And I mentioned to someone around the family, I wanted to go to Tweetsy. So your mom bought us tickets. And when I say she bought us tickets, us, like her and us. And I was like, okay, this isn't going to go well. But I was like, okay, thanks for the tickets. This is great. She wanted to spend some time with her grandson. She didn't like me very much.
Grandsons. We had both of them.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Peter was there too. Yeah. We stayed at the campground down the road from Granny's. Dad came to visit. We had Peter and Henry were both there.
It was a different time. Henry was younger.
Right.
How is that possible? How do I not remember Peter there?
We had him in a stroller.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we'll go back a little bit.
Okay.
Cut that out.
No. Leave it in because there's a lot of it in the book. In the first book, I put all the mother-in-law turmoil in there, but she had bought. We did not get along, and so according to Josh here, we had two babies, but by then we had actually had 3 babies, and I was still in the wild symptoms of PTSD because it would have been maybe 2 years out from losing Joe.
If that.
And all the stuff where she had asked me for some of his ashes because she told me it was read the book. Anyway, we don't need to go down that road. Yeah. But anyway, we didn't get along. So we show up and I really don't remember having Peter there. I can't believe we had this fight with a small baby.
Yeah.
Because Henry was kind of easygoing but I can't, anyway. But it does make sense because there was a lot of crazy mom hormones going on. Anyway, so she surprised us with the tickets, and I was like, oh, you're coming with us. Okay. And I just remember that day. So 2 years out, I'd just been diagnosed with PTSD, and I'm still not functioning. Spoiler alert, I'm not functioning for at least 3 more years after that. I was not ready for people. I was ready to hang out with my little family, breastfeed the kid, the baby, and feed Henry, and that was my life. Get up in the morning, take care of the babies, go back to sleep. That was my life. There was very little outside of it. So I wanted to go to Tweetsy. It was a big step out for me to be going to a theme park. So going along with somebody that I didn't like and that didn't like me was like, oh God, this is not going to end well. So we're up at your grandmother's house. We're up in Mulberry Creek. And your mom has a bit of a lead foot. She drives a little bit fast. She had just bought this real nice sports car. And so I'm sitting in the truck waiting for Josh to come out. And did we bring your grandmother?
No.
Okay.
No, she didn't come.
So, and I'm just sitting in the car. Your mom comes to the window and knocks on the window and she goes, would you like to drive with me? And you let Josh take the boys? And I was like, no. I didn't even have I couldn't collect myself to be polite. It was just like, shut down. Oh, absolutely not. The only reason I'm going is because Josh is going to be driving us up the highway because I wasn't driving at that point either. I was not in good shape. Oh, no. Do I want to sit in a vehicle, strapped into a vehicle with a person who hates me in a sports car away from my buffer who, Josh always tempered everything in between us and, kept everything civil. So she says, do you want to drive with me up to Tweetsy? And I was like, no, thanks. And I just rolled the window back up. And so I just remember her face and the tinted window going back up and covering up her face. And so I'm just sitting there going, whew, dodge that bullet. And so she's walking down the driveway behind the truck, and I just see, I can see the back of her head, but not just the back of her head. I can see the whole top of her head, because she's walking down the driveway to her car, going, ooh, just head thrown back, absolutely furious at me.
Yeah.
Do I sit in the car? Do I sit in the truck and let it go? Absolutely not. So I get out of the truck and I go down to her car and I'm like, what is your problem? And she's like, what's your problem? And we just start screaming at each other. And Lenore, Mulberry Creek has to be the most peaceful place on earth. It's a country. It's a dirt road. There's a little creek next to the granny's house. It's just so trees. Peaceful. It's just acres of farmland. It is so peaceful. And here are these women just screaming at each other, and not nice language, like the little church. I'm pretty sure they could hear the echoes of the swear words at the little Mulberry church. And we are just screaming at each other. And Granny comes over and she tries to separate us and tries to calm us all down and all that stuff. But anyway, we still went to Tweetsy. And so the whole day, we all went to Tweetsy. And that whole day, you can see the pictures. Some of the pictures are great because we managed to get a few moments. But it was the whole day was a couple of cats eyeing each other. Wow, man, it was so uncomfortable. And just Like, we've got these pictures of, like, let's get a picture of us all together, and we're all, like, you can see our body language is, like, just standing next to each other, like, take the picture, get this over with. Anyway, Tweetsy was a great time. But
I saw a friend from high school there. That was funny.
That day?
That day, yeah. Somebody that I hadn't seen since high school, and his name was Keon Farley.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Anything to Chris?
Chris Farley's son, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Was there bumper cars at Tweetsy?
Bumper cars at Tweetsy? I don't know. I don't remember. That's been... Peter was maybe a year and a half or something, so that would have been like 9.5 years ago, almost 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it was way back. So that's one of those things that not only for the boys' sake would I want to go back and revisit, but we should do a redo.
Yeah.
I should call her one of these days and say, hey, want to go to Tweetsy?
Want to go to Tweetsy? I bought tickets. Want to ride with me?
I'll go if I can drive.
Yeah.
It was such a little car. And it was like, we're going to end up crumpled up in a ditch together. Like, I was like, she's going to drive off the road. She'll take herself out if it means taking me out. That was all I could think. I mean, it was bad, man. But it was, seriously, for like 5 years, I was not fit to be around other people. I was good with you and the boys and the dogs, but I could not navigate these outside relationships. I didn't give a shit. I didn't need to be nice. I just didn't need to impress anybody. I was just surviving and taking care of my babies. That was all I wanted out of life. And it's so funny how it comes around again, because that's kind of where I am this weekend. Like, just let me take care of the kids. Like, just shut the door for a little while.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
Just hunkering down. It's the very end of winter. Like, it's spring, in quotes, next week.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I mean, here in Newfoundland, we could get a snowstorm next week, and
we probably will.
But like,
so it usually goes into April and May.
Yeah.
So there's no end in sight.
But like, it's the end of winter. Like, it's been for the past 6 months. It's been, and we haven't had a car since November. So it's been, you know.
So like going for a walk now is all like filthy snow and the trash.
All the trash,
the dog poop.
The snow's melting.
Yeah, and the stuff that people buried with the snow is like coming up to the surface, and it's so disgusting. The roads are all so like not far from, maybe in the next couple of months there will be street cleaning and the road like the.
I was gonna say, you know, one of my favorite things is not so much like something that we all do, but like one of my favorite things in the spring is when the street cleaners are going around. And then you go for a walk, and it's like all the sidewalks are clean, the streets are cleaned up, all the cigarette butts and dog poop bags and all the garbage is gone. And
it's so like, gross right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the weather's nice. The temperature was great to go for a walk, but it was so disgusting.
Yeah. And the dogs get more exercise because they go out now and they just get we took the dogs for a walk the other day, and it was nice enough, but everything was really wet because all the snow was melting. So the dogs were just completely soaked and dirty, like when we got home. And so we decided the dogs haven't had a bath in a while, so let's just give all the dogs a bath. And what a nightmare. Sparky is our oldest dog, and he's got brain problems, but he just stood there like he was perfect. And then the two girls, it was like I wanted one of those Hannibal Lecter suits with the dolly to tie them to and just spray them down. Like they were the worst. Anyway, but they got clean. They smelled good for a couple days.
Yeah. Well, now they smell like beagles again, which I love. I love the smell of beagles. So I'm going to make a tassel now.
Are you making a tassel while we're doing the podcast?
Yeah, why not?
You should do. Are you going to do so that we can see you on the camera?
Yeah.
Are you going to do like a tutorial on how to do it? Or are you just going to do it in the background while we're talking?
So I think I want to do the whole thing. Like I think I should start a brand new hat while we're doing the podcast.
Well, we're 45 minutes in now.
Well, the tutorial was only 20 minutes, and I raced the girl that was doing the thing. So
you did it quicker?
So let me see if I can make a tassel. So you're just wrapping the yarn around here, and it is St. Patrick's Day, so I'm doing
all green.
Doing a green one today. But isn't this the sweetest little thing? I don't know if this is going to fit any of the dogs that we know, but
I think you should make like 3 or 4 of those hats exactly the same, but all different sizes.
Yeah.
And we'll just give them to Cody and be like, take one that fits.
Yep.
He's got a bigger dog too, so maybe make a big one and a little one.
Yeah, I think we should make some for ours too. I hadn't even considered hats, but apparently people also put hats on cats.
Can you make one of those? It looks kind of like a beanie. Can you make one of those beanies with like the propeller on top?
I don't know how to make propellers. That's not a thing.
All right.
That's a whole different set
I just want a beagle that's a kid from the 60s.
We could probably get
mister. Can I have a nickel for some gum? I don't know. A penny?
That's very John Mulaney.
Yeah. I was trying for Conan, but
Oh, yeah? Oh, that was just like Conan.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And just for the record, I would get on a Ferris wheel with you.
Would you?
It's just good that you never asked.
We
Don't ask
did.
now.
We did get on the Ferris wheel at Edaville.
Me and you?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
we did do that one.
I think I'd remember that.
Maybe it was Henry.
That doesn't sound like me.
I'm pretty sure it was you.
It's funny, as a mom, it's like I might as well get on it myself for the fear that I feel watching them on it. Because it's like, oh yeah, he's definitely getting splattered. Oh yeah, I'm leaving here with one less kid. Oh, there's no question. Yep, definitely did. And then they get off the ride and they go, can we do it again? It's like, oh my God. All right. Give me mom's little helper.
I grew up with the amusement parks and the theme parks and stuff, and I just put a lot of faith in the safety of those machines.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That guy that has a shirt that is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What?
The guy with the the guy that has a shirt up this high on his belly, and his pants are hanging down so bad in the back you can see his whole butt crack. And yeah, that guy is the safety inspector. You trust all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have not.
That is really judgmental. I just realized how bad that sounds. But I don't think I've ever seen anybody that looks like an engineer at one of those places. It's always like, were you homeless yesterday?
I have not yet been flung into the next county on a roller coaster or a scrambler.
Was it last year that happened with Thomas Amusements, that one of the cars came off?
Did it?
Yeah. Look it up. Don't look it up.
We'll
stay here.
Look it up.
Look. All right, here's the tassel.
That's
Can you
pretty
imagine?
quick.
Yeah. Do you remember, you know what? It's funny. That day we went to Edaville, I crocheted a hat on the way. Remember I had that, it was like green and pink colors in it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And someone was like, did you start that before
That was
we
how
left
you
today?
kept your hands busy while I was driving on the highways.
Do you remember when I would look up sometimes and you'd say, Vickie?
Back to what you were doing.
Go back to what you were doing. Sometimes I would wake up after falling asleep in the front, and I would wake up like a cat, like, all fours. I'd straighten
like you
out.
don't know where you are.
Yep.
Why am I moving?
Completely disoriented, and
you
would say, go back to sleep, Vickie. It got us a lot of miles, and I don't know how that's going to go when we're out in the RV, because I'm planning on driving. That was a long time ago, and I don't mean to give energy to that, but that was a very, very long time ago. And like right after we lost Joe, my anxiety and as far as PTSD, I mean, I had all the symptoms: the startle response, the interrupted sleep, the anxiety about everything. And then of course you get remember we were pregnant right away after Joe, so it was like pregnancy hormones and grief, and I mean maybe even some postpartum was probably mixed in there, so I was a mess, and I don't know, so it was a lot. But anyway, it's come a long way. Like there's a lot of stuff that I look around and I go, how did that happen? Like it seems like a different person. I opened up For the Grace of Joe earlier, and I was reading a chapter, and it was like, oh my God, like that really it was, first of all, I think I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think I might be a good writer.
Yeah.
Because just reading it was like line by line, like describing what's happening here. This was going on. This is what was going on right here. And it was like, I could see it all. And I was like, this is like a script. And maybe it's because it's so fresh, like because it's so vivid to me. But it was like exactly how I remember everything in the room, how everything happened. And it was like, this is, I don't know who'd benefit from reading that, but I'm trying to look at it with some fresh eyes. And,
that's good.
But I was a mess. Like I was a real mess
hard.
there for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to, I don't know, figure out if there's any way for that story to help anybody along the way. But anyway, I'll figure it out. I'm still working on all the marketing stuff. Look at his little hat.
This
How
hat's
cute.
pretty adorable.
How cute is that?
It's like if a little dog was going skiing. Going off on a ski weekend.
I should put a little name tag on it, or a
ski lift? A lift pass?
A lift pass, yeah. Maybe you could print those off. I heard that's what happens.
You don't put lift tickets on your hat. It goes on your jacket zipper pull.
I don't know.
And you leave it there until the next fall, so everybody knows you went skiing once.
That is how it went in my high school. That is adorable.
Did people actually do that in your high school?
Oh, big time. And I was always like, how do I get one of those? I'm like, oh, I got to ski?
You got to go skiing?
No, thank you. The idea of getting on some slippery sticks and going down a diamond, like a bunny slope, don't care. If there's an ambulance at the bottom of any sport, I'm not participating in it.
That's funny because that happened in my high school a lot too. But there was like
people got
3 or
carried
4
off in ambulances.
There was like 3 or 4 ski mountains really close, like in town.
Yeah.
But for here to go skiing, you got to drive like 8 hours. Don't
Oh,
you?
no. There's one in Clarenville, White Hills in Clarenville. So that was a whole school trip thing. And that was another thing where I was like, what would I do if somebody that I had a crush on asked me to go skiing? And luckily, never had to make that choice. I was never invited. I wasn't popular in high school. Not that way. I had lots and lots of friends, but I didn't even date.
Yeah.
I don't think I had a single date in all of high school. Isn't that funny?
I would have dated you.
Well, I probably would have been like, a boy likes me. What's wrong with him? That's a fact.
Why is he wearing Velcro shoes?
Well, you actually did wear Velcro shoes.
I did.
I think I would have liked you in high school.
I always had Velcro shoes.
I probably would have had a big crush on you. But if you liked me back, I would have been like, oh no, there's something. He's like a serial killer or something.
I also went to the industrial supply stores to get shirts that would say like Cletus or whatever, like work shirts with the name patches on them, and I just wouldn't take the name patches off. I'd just wear them. So
that was a big deal in my high school also.
Was it really?
So you know Brad, who you met in New Brunswick?
Yeah.
I wrote a song about him.
Yeah.
Brad also wore shirts like that. He had work shirts, and he would say, "My name is Dave," and I just thought it was so funny. So if I liked Brad, I probably would have liked you.
Yeah.
Because he had the same kind of approach to fashion and joking. He made me laugh so much. I love Brad.
I was basically like if a ska band was a person in high school.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if we knew about ska bands here back in high school. I don't remember what was popular. I know Celtic Connection was just coming on the scene. No, that was after. I don't know what was popular. Guns N' Roses was popular when we were.
Was it Crush popular then?
No, that was before.
Was it really?
That was early.
Really?
Way early, yeah. Crush was later, like after we got out of high school.
No, that's what I mean. Okay. I thought you meant Crush was before.
No, God, no. No, they were after. Like Great Big Sea came around when I was about 17. Crush was a few years after that. But that was when we were like able to go downtown and go to George Street for the shows. And back then they had all ages shows also. So you could actually go down and see a band on George Street, and it wasn't like a drunk fest. You could actually go down as a 17, 18-year-old. And there was like concerts, and like nighttime concerts. And then this guy, David Carver, came into town and bastardized the whole thing. He was shutting down George Street. It was like when Gary Bettman came into the NHL. AHL? I feel like he did a bunch of damage to the AHL also. No, that was Dave Andrews. But he changed a lot of the rules. So George Street became this thing where he would shut the street down, and it was David Carver Promotions, and he would have these massive concerts, but he would shut down George Street, and you had to buy a more expensive ticket to get on the street, and then you could go into any bar you wanted to, but it was only 19 plus. And it completely destroyed the family vibe down there.
Is that the George Street Festival?
It would have been, the summer concerts. Yeah. And then I don't remember Mardi Gras. I remember going to Mardi Gras when I was underage, and it wasn't an issue. So the street was not closed off then either. You just didn't go into bars.
When does Mardi Gras happen here?
October. Sorry, what was that smirk?
It's just funny because Mardi Gras is in February.
Sure, yeah, okay.
You'd
look pretty funny on George Street in February.
I don't know why they call it Mardi Gras here. Like, where did it come from?
Just the dressing up thing, I guess. I'm trying to remember. I remember dressing up and going to George Street before I was 19. But I don't remember going in bars. I remember it was the concert. It wasn't a concert. It was like the dress up. Like everybody dressed up on the street. Yeah. And I feel like there was entertainment. I feel like there might have been bands playing. And anyway, when they started shutting down George Street, it never went back. It's never been the same. And I know the reason I referenced Gary Bettman is because he was from
David Carver?
Nope. Gary Bettman. So he was in, I think, basketball. He was. He was the commissioner for basketball, or he had some experience with another sport, and he came over to the NHL, and he just changed a bunch of the rules that really made hockey not as
Ted
good as it
Lasso'd
used to be. No, not like that. It was more like, I don't know. He just put these rules in place that were like it took away the sport and some of the athleticism. There you go. That was a tongue twister. People are still angry about that. And then little Dave Andrews came into the AHL, and he made a bunch of the rules that Gary Bettman had made in the NHL and changed some of the excitement and some of the fun parts of hockey that have never recovered. But I met him one time when I was down on a bar on George Street one time, and Pat Quinn and Dave Andrews were in town for, I don't know, it was like an All-Star game, All-Star weekend or something like that. And in walked Pat Quinn and Dave Andrews. And now, did I go up to Dave Andrews and say, "Hey, you ruined hot bus"? Oh, the jacket. That's why I remember all this.
Maple Leafs jacket.
Isn't that funny? Talk about energy. So in they walk. We were at Bridie Malloy's, and they walked in. I was like, oh my God, that's Pat Quinn. And I was a puddle. Like, I was a quivering puddle of, oh my God, so impressed. Because I was a massive St. John's Maple Leafs fan, and Pat Quinn was the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Or maybe he was the coach. He might have been the coach at the time. Anyway, in walks Pat Quinn, and so we're there watching our friends. The Navigators were playing that night. And Pat Quinn heard Fred Jorgensen sing, and he went, my God, that's an Irish voice if I've ever heard one. And he said, Pat Quinn said to me, it's always been my dream to sing in an Irish band. And I'm like, you're Pat Quinn. You're like,
just do it.
No. Like, you look at your life. You worked your way up to coach the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, how can you want anything better ever, anything different in your life? Like, you've achieved, you've hit the pinnacle. Like, how do you have any unresolved dreams or anything? So I go over to Arthur and I said, just between me and you, you see Pat Quinn over there? And he was like, yeah. And I said, it's been his dream, apparently, to sing in an Irish band. And he said, you have got to be kidding me. So I'd say,
like, I got one of those.
So I'd say within the next song or two, Arthur invited Pat Quinn up to sing. And I don't remember.
So he knew songs?
Oh, of course. He was Irish. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Pat Quinn. So I don't remember. They talked for like 30 seconds and figured out what they were going to sing. And Arthur passed the microphone over to Pat Quinn. And it was such a beautiful moment because Pat was just beaming, like just absolutely so thrilled to be with an authentic Irish band in the middle of George Street, in the middle of like such an Irish little town. And he got to do something that he always dreamed of doing.
Yeah.
And here he is, this big hockey. Like, couldn't you just, I mean, he could have just walked into any place and paid. Like, he could have paid a band to let him play for a night or whatever. But it just happened organically. And it was just because anyway, he's passed on since he died of cancer a few years ago. And, but I was nice to Dave Andrews. I will say I completely folded. And
you didn't give him what for?
No, I did not speak on behalf of fans or hockey players anywhere. I just went, it's so nice to meet you, Mr. Andrews.
Did you actually have a problem with him, though? Like, did you have, or was it just like people didn't like what he was doing?
No, I didn't like what he was doing.
Okay.
But when I met him face to face, I completely folded. And I was like, it's so nice to meet you, Mr. Andrews. It's such but I mean, he was also sitting next to Pat Quinn, so I'm not going to.
That's true.
I'm not going to pull his jersey over his head and start fighting him. Because like Pat Quinn had like mitts. It should have seen the size of Pat Quinn's hands. He was like baseball, like catcher's mitts on both hands. It was crazy. But he was so nice. And we actually, the glass that he used that night, he had a pint of whatever he had, and we took the glass from the bar that night as a souvenir.
Where's that now?
The person I was with took the glass because I said, this is really important to me, and she held on to it, and then I never saw it again. But anyway, Pat Quinn's glass was a pretty big deal. It was pretty nice.
That's a pretty fun story.
Well, it's nice to be a part of those things.
And we're still friends with the Navigators. We saw them just the other night.
We talk about that story every now and then.
Yeah.
Me and Arthur, the night we met Pat Quinn, and he got up. And, you know, Arthur has a bunch of those stories where people like Cat Stevens or Chris de Burgh or somebody or someone else, like, and the guy from the Venice is Sinking guy. Oh, boy. What is that guy's name? Anyway, where they were playing on George Street, and whoever.
I only know that as a Fred Jorgensen song.
That's all it really is. But these people walked in off the street and heard the boys playing their songs or whatever, and they would get up and sing a few songs with them. And George Street is really, really great for that. And it's good to be here. I'm glad that we are having this conversation because it's bringing me back around to, oh, that's right, that's why I love Newfoundland.
Yeah. And when we leave, it's like, oh, you know, when we're not here, it's like hard to remember stuff and see stuff that's happening and wish, you know.
And you put on your what did Maura Rose call it? My rosy lunettes.
Yeah.
Pinkish lunettes or something like that.
Lunettes. Yeah.
It is a place to. After you've been here all winter, it is really hard to remember why you want to be here at all. Like it's dismal and everybody gets kind of cranky. And
summers are great here.
The summers are absolutely fantastic. And we did have a really great weekend. Long. I don't know if I'm maybe coming down a little bit from the experience. Alan Doyle was in town. Alan Doyle lives here. I don't know if people know that or not. I live in the same town as Alan Doyle. But he did a show. He's actually finishing up a tour. And he opened up there's a brand new facility in town called Jag Sound House. And it is phenomenal. Gorgeous. It felt like, I've never been there, but it felt like walking into a place in Vegas. There was all these lights on the ceiling, and the staff were dressed really nice, and they were all really friendly and welcoming. Like someone opened the door and welcomed us to the place.
It was a venue in a hotel, which like we've been to a couple, like in I want to say Moncton. There's a casino with a hotel.
In Halifax. Halifax has one too.
Yeah, but I haven't been to that one. But like, I always thought it was funny, like the idea of like, there's people staying in this hotel. Isn't this a nightmare for the people that are just like here on a business trip or like visiting family or whatever? Like, there's a hotel here. It's a big hotel, I guess, but
I don't think it's under the hotel. I don't think it's under the rooms. I think they built it off to the side. Like,
they would have to. I mean, because it'd be a nightmare for people staying there. Like that, you wouldn't stay.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's. I just find it really funny to go to a hotel where they're having. Like,
I mean, there's hotel bars where there's music and karaoke and stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Bands and stuff playing. So that doesn't.
I did go to a heavy metal show at a hotel bar one time.
Yeah.
And
did any sleepy people come down in their pajamas and say, "Keep it down, you young punks"?
It was like a motel in Greensboro.
Oh.
It was little. It was like the one in Schitt's Creek. Actually, it was like 2 stories. I feel like the bar at that place must have been on the end with no rooms because it was a loud. It was like a heavy metal show. Anyway.
Or maybe they just have the band staying in the rooms close to the
yeah.
to the venue.
Yeah.
So Alan played last night, and Nick Earl opened for him. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was a really good show.
We don't usually go to see the openers. I hate to say that, but we don't often.
We usually just end up like making dinner and then be like, oh shoot, it's 7:00. We need to. The show started 5 minutes ago, or whatever.
I was ready to go to the show as soon as I got out of bed yesterday, so I was ready to go.
But it was really cool that we knew a lot of people. Like you've played with Claire Follett, who played bass with Nick Earl. You've got Corey and Kindle. Produced and played on your album. Like it's a fun, like it's seeing people that we know. You know, it's an
experience.
You did a TV show with Alan. You played with him on stage.
2. I did 2 with Alan.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Is it only 2? No,
we've had
3.
him on a radio show. He
was on my TV show. We did Hudson and Rex together, and we did Scoff Off. So there's actually 3 shows, 2 radio shows. He's in the book a lot, so if you're a big fan, there's lots of Alan stories.
It was a good show.
It was really nice, and my favorite part. I saw pictures of the venue the night before from a show that they had started. They opened this weekend. It was a grand opening.
Collective Soul was here, and I had no idea until the next day when they were like, Collective Soul was here. It's like, isn't that a huge band? How is this the first time I'm hearing about?
So it's a 1,500 seat venue, and they opened it this weekend. And so I had seen pictures, and so there was like mezzanine, like a 2nd level seating and all that stuff. And so someone had posted pictures showing from the back of the mezzanine, and we had standing room seats. So back in hockey days, back at Memorial Stadium, standing room was basically, so there's like the rink and the glass, and then there's like rows and rows and rows of seating, and then a concrete wall that goes around at the back of all the seats. And when you bought a general admission ticket, you could stand back behind that concrete wall, behind all the seats. So when I saw pictures of Jag the night before, I was like, oh, man, this is going to suck. I'm going to be 200 rows back. That is not my favorite
And also,
thing.
to be fair, we did go to an Alan Doyle show in...
It was a couple years ago.
I think it might have been the one in Moncton. But anyway, we went to an Alan Doyle show in New Brunswick where in front of the stage was 25 rows of seating. Mm-hmm. So it was like, that was kind of what I was picturing too. Like, are they going to have a bunch of chairs?
Yeah.
And then
I felt like we'd be in people's way if we stood up. So it was like, I really didn't know what to expect when we went in.
But it was a proper venue.
It was, almost identical inside to the Iceberg Alley tents, but a solid, so I don't need to worry about the tent coming in on me. And that's not a concern, just so nobody asks me to take that post down on Instagram.
I mean, the tent literally did collapse.
Not while anybody was in it.
Because there was a hurricane.
Okay, and the reason I'm saying that is because we did a boat tour. We played on a boat tour, and I fell like it was after a windy, like there had been a windstorm for a couple of days, and so it was 3 days after the windstorm. But if you know anything about the ocean, it takes a few days for the lop to fall on the pond. It's still going crazy days after the wind has happened.
But in St.
John's, was it a hurricane?
It was a hurricane, but it wasn't a hurricane like close to us. Mm. But so in St. John's, the harbor is enclosed by the Narrows, so it's almost completely separated from the ocean because it's this little tiny.
It's like a tub.
This little tiny place that the boats have to go through, and it's really hard for them to navigate through it. But it keeps the ocean separate from the harbor. So this boat tour, they were like, we're just going to go around the harbor because it's nice and calm. Out on the ocean, it's crazy. It's super like just windy and lots of waves and stuff. So
we'll just go around the harbor for a little nighttime cruise.
And then the first loop, they were like, we'll go right out to the edge of the Narrows. And it was like, okay, the boats are kind of going crazy now. Like, this is a bit much. And then they did another loop, and they came back around the second time. We're like, let's go out farther. And we're like, are you kidding me? Like, we're playing music back here, sitting on a speaker and, like, entertaining your guests. And they just, like, way too far out. The boat is just up and down, and it was insane. It was like, why are we out here?
So this is another one of those situations where my legs lock up and I'm just pinning myself against a wall, holding on for dear life because I am petrified, but not before. So the first thing that happened when we got out far enough, the speaker I was sitting on fell over. And so it
was a big PA
literally
speaker.
Almost went over the side. And then the microphone hit me in the teeth. So I might have said some swear words into the microphone. And the people were like, oh yeah, it is kind of rough.
And at one point, the captain who was doing a tour voiceover, like talking through this PA, was like, all right, well, it sounds like the musicians need us to take a break. So let's, like, you can hear us falling around back here.
Yeah. So the next morning, because I had posted this goofy video of, we went down to the waterfront, and before we did the show, we knew
like
it was
the night
coming.
before.
We went down to the water, found the boat, which was way too small. I shouldn't have gotten on it in the first place, but I was pretty shocked when I saw how small it was. And so we had all these like flotation devices and like life jackets and all that stuff. And so I was putting on all these life jackets, going, "Come on down and see us tomorrow night on this boat tour." And
it was like 3 life
jackets.
It was
a joke. I said it as a joke, and I was like, "It'll be fine. The water won't be that bad." I had no idea what was outside the Narrows. So we did the show. It was not great. I'm not a sea person. I know I live on an island, but I don't like boats at all. So the next morning I said, thanks to everybody to come out. We met some really nice people. Some of my friends showed up and it was really great. And so I said, I mean, other than the fact that I almost got thrown over the side when we went out past the Narrows, it was great. And I get this phone call and I'm like, oh my God, this is exciting. They're probably calling to ask us to do more shows or like ask us to do a regular gig. They're so excited because they were calling at like 11 a.m. the next day. They were not calling to offer us more gigs. They were asking us to take the Instagram post down because they said, we are known for our safety. And if something like what you posted gets out, people might not feel safe. And I was like,
it literally happened.
But it literally happened just like I said. And she was like, well, can you take it down? And so, is she mad at me? I wonder. Am I mad at her? I don't know.
We'll get in touch and ask her, are you mad at me?
So why was I talking about that? Oh, so the venue, Iceberg Alley, of course, in a hurricane a couple of years ago, while they were putting it up, the wind just blew it. Like, I mean, it just absolutely collapsed, and nobody was in it. It was before the concerts had even started.
Yeah, they were just setting it up.
But it destroyed the whole thing, and it took a long time to get it back up. So inside Jag Hotel, same owners, inside the venue. I mean, it's a great setup. It's like the stage. There's lots of room. There's lots of bars and lots of places to get. Lots of bathrooms, very clean bathrooms. Clearly, like, you could see where the exit signs were and all that stuff. And then the mezzanine, like all these extra rows of seating for all the rich people. Balconies and all that stuff. I don't know why you'd go to a concert and sit in a balcony. I mean, I guess I'm not that old yet. I still feel like the best seat in the house.
The only thing that I could see is like when the opening band finished, I was like, my feet hurt. I wish I had a chair right now. Like, it was like, if I had a chair, I would sit down. So I could see, like, maybe in a few years, a decade, something like that, when I'm a little older, I could see being like, I'll go to this concert if I can sit down.
Wow.
But I got through it. My feet hurt at the end of the night. I was ready to sit down when we got to the restaurant.
That's how you're supposed to feel after a concert. And your ears are supposed to be ringing, and it should be like that. So we walk in. It's a beautiful facility. And seriously, the bar, like all the reviews of the bar service was really fast. Like, people were getting drinks really fast. I loved it. I absolutely loved the venue. Nice. It was very sparkly. Like, the stairways were like the grand staircase going up on the Titanic. It was beautiful. Like, it was really, really nice. Like, some of the musicians were out in the lobby after the show. It was really great. And Alan is amazing. What an entertainer. Like, what an absolute, like, he knows how to get a crowd going.
Puts on a good show.
He's so good. And his band seem like they're having such a good time together.
Yeah.
It really feels like fun, like you're a part of this great thing that's happening. And so that was really great. And so today I'm like, boy, I want to lay back down. But anyway, it was a really great experience.
It was busy. It was a busy weekend.
And we did a baby shower earlier that day, which I don't know if people know this or not, but going to baby showers, kind of hard after you've lost one. Like, I'm really happy that we got invited. It was a family thing. We were all invited, and little shout out to the folks who organized it, because all the things that I hate about baby showers, none of it happened. So there was not like, usually at a the ones that I've been to, there's always like a couple of women who are in charge, and they're telling everybody what to do, and they're telling the mom what to do, and they're bossing everybody around, and you kind of walk out of there going, who was that lady? Or who were those women that kept telling them? There was none of that. It was family friendly. It was not a sharp start 1:00 thing. It was drop in anytime, come and hang out for a few minutes. You don't have to be there for the whole duration. And it took all the pressure, all the things that I have, all the anxiety triggers. They were all, they checked every single box. It was a really fun thing. There was lots of food. The boys had a great time.
Yeah, it was fun.
I find baby showers a little triggering. I find it hard even after all these years. I mean, I know we had a healthy baby after our loss, but I still find it hard to be, up and optimistic and playing naming games and all that stuff, because I've seen the other side of it, and I've seen the moms sitting at a grief support table who did all those things and had no idea. So I don't want to.
Is that the word? Is that where we are? Is that what you're going for?
I don't know. I find it hard to participate in the whole, like, obviously I don't want to bring any negative energy into that room. But I do find it very hard to be like, oh my God, the baby's going to be this weight, or the baby's coming on this day. And it's like, guys, can we just have a moment to I'm not a religious person, but can we just pray for a healthy delivery? Yeah. Can we pray for like a healthy mom that doesn't go into severe depression? And like, there's so much that can go wrong that I just find it hard to get into that headspace of everything is perfect. I mean, it's just, I guess, I don't know. I guess.
So what you're saying is it can be hard to go to baby showers, but it was a nice one.
It was a really nice one, and it was people we love, and I was happy to support them and be there. And I knit a sweater. I can post a picture of that after, but I knit a baby sweater, which was, these things we had a healthy baby after our loss. And I still find pregnant women, pregnancy announcements, invitations to baby showers, invitations to christenings. I still find all that very triggering, very, poor me, boo-hoo-hoo, pity Vickie. I don't know. I'm just saying it because somebody might need to hear it. And that's what we did this weekend. So I went to the baby shower. I had to come home and recover for a little while. And then we went to see Alan Doyle. So I can't, and there's no way he would never know this. There's no way he has any idea of the impact he has on people's lives. I know that because he's just a person. But the day that I bought the Alan Doyle tickets was the same day that I got fired from a job I loved. And I was so excited about. So it was like Alan Doyle tickets. I came downstairs and said, guess what? I just bought tickets to see Alan Doyle in a month, and I have something to look forward to on the calendar. And then I got this text message. I got fired by text. And it was devastating. And was like, there was this little silver lining of like, you know what? I used one of my paychecks to buy tickets. I'm going to go see Alan in a month, and it's going to be a great time. I know it's going to be a great time. The only way an Alan Doyle show is not fun is if it gets canceled or postponed. If it's going ahead, you're having a good time. He is amazing. He's an amazing entertainer, and he's like, God, he's going to be like, he's like 55 or 56. I mean, he's still got it. He's still a fantastic entertainer.
Yeah, they're very good shows that they put off. So
amazing.
It was fun.
So it was the padding that it allowed me, or that it provided for me to have the tickets and know that I had something to look forward to, made the experience so much easier. It took the edge off of it. And then going to the baby shower, and again, nothing against the family or any of the organizers or anything like that. It was a great time, but it's triggering after a loss. And so knowing that I had tickets to go see Alan that night was like, that's that padding or that insulation of I'm going to have something later that is self-care, absolutely 100% self-care and fun. And we ended up down there early. I couldn't wait to get there. And one of my favorite things in the world is to get into a car knowing that I'm going to see an Alan show. Like knowing that no matter what happens, as long as this car stays on the road, I'm going to see Alan later, and it's going to be it's going to be fun, and it's just like the best experience. And I recommend it for everybody. I mean, if you don't like Alan, I don't know what to tell you. Like you should just give up, because if you don't enjoy life,
if you don't like fun, I don't know what to tell you. But then we went to the Celtic,
but even if you don't like him, give him another chance, because he's fantastic.
And the Celtic Hearth afterwards was great.
Oh my God, it was so much fun.
We had breakfast for dinner.
It was a nice night.
It was very.
It was
fun.
a really nice night. Coming home, it was like there was a fine sheet of ice over everything.
Yeah, it was slick.
Yeah, the sidewalks. It wasn't freezing rain. I mean, maybe it was.
It was just right
There
on
was
the,
a lot of
right on
icy
the edge
patches,
of
so
freezing.
it was quite the gloss over everything. And
Yeah.
I guess I didn't hear about anybody getting injured on the way home, so I guess everybody made it home safe. But it was a really fun night, and of course it's St. Patrick's Day. This will be coming out in a couple of days, and we're getting ready for next year St. Patrick's Day. It was
That's
a great
right.
way to spend the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm tired of the snow and the cold weather, and
We're ready for some
I'm
sun.
looking forward to do some fun stuff now. The book is coming along great.
Yeah.
So being shut, like, that winter walls closing in thing, I have been able to do some work on the book, and
It's coming along.
Yeah.
What you've
I'm
read to
having
me
fun.
has been really good, so that's exciting.
I'm having fun with it. And it's that time of year where it's like it's okay to just take it easy, sleep a lot, eat a lot, get as much exercise as you possibly can, drink more water, play a little music. Of course, we got the show coming up in a couple of weeks, the Songwriter Circle with Joel Hines, which
April 3rd.
I mean, man.
It's going to be exciting.
It's so funny when you have time to get ready for it. Like, you can play it over and over in your head, and you get to have the experience like 20 times before it actually happens. So I'm really excited about that.
That's going to be really fun.
Thrilled to be doing that, and I don't know. I hope it's the beginning. I hope it's just the beginning, because I really like Joel. So I'm really looking forward to that. So April 3rd, if you're in St. John's, we're going to be at the Battery Cafe at 7 o'clock, and get to sit. I hope. I'm trying to, like, my anxious brain is like, I'm going to get to sit next to him, right? Like, is there going to be some situation where there's like, I got to sit like 2 seats over, or am I actually going to be sitting right next to him? I don't mean to make him, like, I don't mean to put him on a pedestal, but he's amazing.
I
can't imagine I'm going to sit next to him and he's going to tell stories and play songs, because we were in the audience last time. Every time I've ever seen him, I've been in the audience very far from him. And it's like, I'm going to be right next to him. Like, I could like lean over and say something right to him.
There's never a songwriter circle.
Never.
They're always sitting in a line.
I've seen some videos online at the ECMAs where they would sit kind of in a circle,
A semicircle.
with an audience. No, with an audience sitting around. There was an actual circle
I don't
where they're
believe-
like all the musicians are facing each other. But that's kind of just an idea. It's just a gesture, David.
Stop being so literal.
Yeah, it's not necessarily, but it is going to be fun. The Battery Cafe is a great little spot. Lots of good energy there.
That's another podcast done.
I know. 17, man.
17. Lucky 17. I don't know.
Oh, on March 17th.
Ooh.
So 5 years ago, it came up in my
We
Facebook
can't tell any more
memories.
stories. We're done with the podcast now.
We started our radio show 5 years ago,
Oh, yeah.
just before the...
The Mulberry Creek Hour on 93.5 FM.
Well, it came up in my memories that Henry had done a commercial for us.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
right.
a little tiny voice said, "My mom and dad and
The
a
Mulberry Creek Hour.
Yeah. He was so awesome. And he is so embarrassed every time we mention that. We had a Peter story we had the other... Oh, my God. We were talking about when we brought Sparky home. Sparky's going to be 9 in August. And Peter was like maybe 2 when we brought him home, when we had Sparky in the back of the car. And so we're driving along, and I did like a dog voice. And I was like, why is everything moving so fast? And Peter was in his car seat, and he looks over and he goes, he can talk! It was so amazing.
It was pretty
I just
cute.
peeked on your thing there.
That's
Sorry about that.
completely blown out. That's all right. It was cute.
You can cut that out. I'll repeat it. But it was so cute. Like, they were so excited to have a puppy. Beagle puppies and Alan Doyle and Nateland Podcast are the 3 greatest things that, I mean, it is just the icing on the cake. It's so fun. And whatever you're into, do those things as much as possible, especially this time of year. Self-care is really important.
Yeah.
And take care of yourself. It matters. Like, feeling good is important. And if all you can do today is get out of bed and wash your face and maybe prepare a meal for yourself, that's enough. And go back to bed. It's all right. You don't have to get it all done. There's a lady on Instagram that I'm absolutely in love with. Her name is Anna Prezy, I think. And she does these little videos of just the goofiest stuff. And then at the end of it, she'll say, you better keep it up, cutie, because I'm so freaking proud of you. And she's just amazing. Like, it's amazing to see that in my feed. It just makes me feel so much better because she's so funny. And anyway,
I'm all for positive social media content.
My Instagram feed, I got to say these days, Facebook, not great, but Instagram has been really fun. And I've got a lot of really great people that I'm following on. Really funny people. Hannah Slay started doing a bunch of posts, and she's absolutely hilarious, and I love her. And so she's really great. And Anna Prezy, and I'm trying to think, there's a couple of others like Maria Bamford and folks like just quirky, funny, just, real people that I just love it so much. Anyway, we're still watching the Nateland podcast. I know I can't let an episode go by without mentioning that. We have gotten to the part where Dusty Slay, up to episode 100, Dusty Slay joins them, I found out. And we love him so much. Yeah. He's hilarious. So having him on there has so there's another 230 or 240 episodes total, and we're 102 into it. So that was a nice addition and great chemistry. And the podcast world, man. Who did we see the other day? Conan had Amy Poehler on, and she's thinking about starting a podcast.
She did.
I
saw a clip from the first episode. She's talking to Rachel Dratch and Seth Meyers and all at once, on a big Zoom call. And Rachel Dratch's doorbell rings because her DoorDash or whatever shows up and interrupts the podcast. It was so funny. Anyway,
I want to mention my jacket. This came out of a bin down in the basement. It came out of the archives, and this was my favorite jacket when I was 20. So it's got good energy. I just thought I'd wear that just for comfort.
St. John's Maple Leafs.
I couldn't find any overalls on such short notice because we were like, we should do a podcast. Okay, and you started setting everything up. But I thought I'd wear some comfort and some good energy. And it was funny that the Pat Quinn story showed up and all these things. I made this little hat. I'm going to make a smaller one because I think this is going to be too big for Cody's little puppy dog. But I'm going to
try it on our little dog.
These only take 20 minutes. And apparently you can put them on a cat if you're into cats.
If you like getting the hell scratched out of you, because cats don't like stuff like that, I don't think. All right, that's enough for us for this week.
It's been wonderful. And thanks for listening. And thanks to everybody that I know has been keeping up on the podcast and listening from far and wide. We've got a lot of friends out there that are listening. And just knowing that you're out there is just really, really nice. And thanks, Josh, for doing this with me all the time.
Thank you.
I'm having a great time. I look forward to the next one. We should do this for a while. We should take this out on the road.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Spoiler. That's it for us this week. I'm Josh Morgan.
I'm Vickie Morgan.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks.